Looks like Kawhi Leonard's coming along the way he's supposed to. Putting up shots, doing box jumps, dribbling, things he's, definitely want to do in regards to getting himself back where he was. But let's just go ahead and talk about his status, and let's talk about where the team is and where they'll be by the time he returns. It's always good to see a player like Kawhi Leonard, you know, get back to where he is, or at least working towards getting back to where he was. You hate to see any player get hurt, as I always say, but you definitely hate to see the great ones go down, because the great ones provide so much good for the sport itself, so many ratings, and just so much in regards to who they are and what they brought to the sport already up until this point. You appreciate them even more when they're not around. And I hate the fact that it goes that way sometimes, but that's just the way it is. There's no other way around it. As far as Kawhi, me seeing him dribble, putting up shots, walking fairly well, hearing him say, a couple months ago, he never really felt injured and everything is going according to plan. We just got to hope we got to hope that it does for the best. And we got to hope that he comes back, the way that he was, because if he does, this team is definitely a contender for a championship. I don't give a damn about the Warriors. I don't give a damn about the Lakers. I don't give a damn about any other team in the West if this guy is healthy, because I know whatever team Kawhi Leonard represents, if he's 100% healthy, that team has an opportunity to win a championship. And the Clippers definitely have an opportunity to win a championship if this guy is healthy and going to give you what he gave you. If he gives you anything close to what he gave you in the playoffs last year, this team is probably going to win a championship. Hopefully he can do that if he decides to come back this season, if it's okay for him to come back, if his health, calls for it. But, if he does come back and if he can give, I'd say, anywhere close to what he gave last year in the playoffs, this team is a contender. I mean, last year he was scoring like 33 points, shooting like 65% from the field, and he was shooting like 45+% from three, and like close to 90% from the free throw line in the playoffs. I mean, I've always said Kawhi Leonard is the best playoff performer I've ever seen. Nobody goes to the playoffs and turns it up a level the way he does. Not one player. I mean, he just turns it up to a level where it's like, wow, it doesn't matter who's on his team. He makes that team good enough to win a championship. Now, he had some derailments, injuries, things like that. He had, some slip-ups like every other superstar has had. But still, for the most part, his winning percentage in the playoffs has been, it's just been, great to see and great to watch. So I definitely hope he comes back. Sooner than later. Now, I do want to say this. I hope that Kawhi Leonard, does what's best for him and the team. And I'm saying that because I hope that he comes back. I hope he comes back and be healthy. And I want him to do what's best for his body so he can play long term. But I definitely hope he comes back soon enough to help this team, because honestly, when you look at the Clippers, their window is getting smaller and smaller to win that championship. I mean, because if you look at it, there's a lot of other teams that's growing. There's other teams that are ascending, and there's other teams that are getting better. And even when you look at a team like the Warriors, I don't think they could beat the Clippers in a 7-game series if they got Kawhi Leonard. But, another year, assuming that Klay Thompson comes back this year, another year or two under Klay Thompson's belt, when he gets comfortable back to how he was, they're definitely going to be a contender for a championship going forward if they still pretty much have the same team, because they still got the same coach and they still got the same two superstars. So when you look at that in its entirety, the Clippers window, I would say it's fading more than it's staying open, because you're going to have teams like that, add more talent, add more star power, which is Klay Thompson to the team. And then on top of that, you look at the team like the Lakers, who will try to add more pieces, I mean, that's what LeBron does. He adds pieces to his roster to help him build, dynasties as much as he can to win championships, and that's what you should do as a team. You should always try to recruit and get the best talent you can to put yourself in the best position to win. And, with that being said, other teams in the West that's going to get stronger, and you still got Luka in the West who will get better, and Devin Booker who will get better, and, other talented players in the West. It's hard to just say a team is going to win a championship and is going to be a contender every season just because they got two superstars and other teams, you don't think other teams can match up against them well. But what if one superstar goes down like it is now? Or what if the other team gets a big three? You see what I'm saying? It's a lot of things that goes on that can happen in a season where you can be looked at as a contender back to a regular or a middle of the pack team. And I'm not saying the Clippers are going to be a middle of the pack team now, but I'm just saying, the championship window is waning because this operation was started a couple seasons ago. They failed in the bubble. We all know what happened there. And last year, I believe, honestly, if Kawhi didn't get hurt, they go to the finals. But, you could say a lot of things happened, but it didn't happen that way. So you just got to hope that Kawhi Leonard comes back this year for this team, because I feel like this is the opportunity for them to do it. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I said I hope Kawhi Leonard does what's best for his health, because, you want him to play long term and be healthy. But I also hope he comes back and do, and come back and help the team as well, because this team really needs him. And when you look at how the Clippers play overall as a unit, not only Kawhi Leonard's greatness is what they feed off of, they feed off his energy. And when I say Kawhi Leonard's energy, I'm talking about when you look at Kawhi Leonard on the floor and how hard he plays and how much he goes out there and give everything he has every night. This team feeds off that energy. I mean, honestly, even when they were, played in the playoffs last year against Dallas, watching Kawhi Leonard put on that hero performance those last two games and, lock Luka up some. I mean, that really propelled that team to be like, wow, we really got a superstar player here who can do it, who can take us to a championship. And I feel like the Clippers, when they watched Kawhi Leonard do that in that first round series, it propelled them and gave them the confidence when he went down, we could still win because we have a good enough team and our leader put it in our minds that we're good enough. And that's what helped them get past Utah and almost ultimately getting past the Phoenix Suns to go to the NBA Finals, which would have been awesome if they would have been able to do that, but they weren't able to. And this is why I said they feed off of Kawhi Leonard's energy more than what the media talks about and what a lot of people speak on, because everybody says Kawhi Leonard's not this leader and all this other type stuff. So, it's just a bunch of gibberish that you hear from the media, but Kawhi Leonard is a leader. He's always been one. He's just more of a silent leader. He doesn't do much talking. And that's the problem. When people are not doing what you want them to do, they find ways to criticize you. But, in all essence, you got to say to yourself sometime, the hell with them. I'm going to do what I do best. If they don't like it, they can go elsewhere. And to me, that's the notion that Kawhi Leonard kind of carries. Sometimes it can bite him, but at the same time, it really has benefited him throughout his career up until this point, because he's a two-time champion and a two-time Finals MVP. So you have to give him credit for what he's accomplished. But at the same time, it's all about this team now. This team time is now. So I'm impressed. I'm impressed by what I see in Kawhi Leonard, his movement, and watching him just dribble on the court, keep basketball on his mind. I love looking at the videos, and you can see him on Clipaholics.com. If you go to Clipaholics.com, you can watch the videos, or you can go on YouTube and watch the videos, whichever one you choose. But I love seeing Kawhi Leonard dribble. I love seeing him, stay proactive in his progression and trying to come back, because I feel like he's really trying to come back and really help this team win. I feel like Kawhi has it in his heart to help this team win a championship, and I think the fans definitely should appreciate the fact that he's trying, he's doing everything he can. And I definitely think for some reason, even though a lot of people might say, or naysayers might say, he might not be coming back this season, but I definitely think he really, really wants to. to. I don't feel like with the Clippers, he wants to sell them short or trying to find his way out the arena or out the team or something like that, like he did in San Antonio. I think he has an opposite mindset. And the fact that, we're watching him put up shots and he's trying to progress as fast as he can, get back as fast as he can to help his guys and get back out there on the floor and do what he does best, which is to go assassinate people from 17 feet and in, and from the 3-point line. Also, he's definitely a deadly 3-point shooter too. But that's what I'm saying. I definitely don't see him trying to cheat the fans in LA, and I definitely see him trying to come back to Clipper Nation as quick as he can to help this team, because I know he sees this team has a lot of talent. The only problem is, this team has to try to stay afloat. And now with Paul George being out, you hope that Paul George comes back soon himself to kind of keep things afloat. But I'm not sure. Who knows how serious his injury is on his elbow? But I know I've heard that his elbow is on his shooting hand, his shooting arm, whatever. So that could be a real big situation, bigger than what the Clippers are putting out there. So, hopefully Kawhi can keep progressing, doing what he's doing, and keep high spirits, and hopefully the team can as well, because like I said, right now they're so shorthanded, and you hope Paul George come back any day, any time now, to kind of keep the team afloat and keep them going as much as he can until big dog Kawhi Leonard comes back. Then they got something going. But it's hard right now with the Clippers. I mean, injuries, health, safety protocols. It just, like I said in my last video, or the video before last, it just seemed like the Clippers have a hard time with health issues. It just seemed like the injury bug hits them more than it hits any other team. And I know that's not obviously true, but it definitely seems that way, because they just don't seem like they're getting a fair break when it comes to health and, being not injured and, all those type of things. It just seems that way, because you want to see this team succeed, because you see what type of talent they have, and they can definitely put it all together if all of them are there. And I hope they don't trade Serge Ibaka. I hope they find a way to keep him, because I think Serge is good. But I mean, at the same time, if you happen to find somebody a lot better, or if the Clippers organization can find somebody who can give them more production than what they think Serge can do, then I mean, hey, go for it. I mean, the organization's gonna do what they want to do anyway, right? So you can't say what they're going to do or what decision they're going to make until it's made. But at the same time, I just truly believe if this team is healthy and everybody is on the floor together, I truly believe this team can win a championship. I don't really think they need much else, because like I said, I mean, you have pretty much all the pieces you need. I mean, you got pieces that can score from every position, and you got a bench that can come off into the game and provide you with production on both ends of the floor. Terrence Mann, I think he should be able to score more than he can, or he should be able to score more points. But at the same time, he does play defense on the other end. He will go after the other team's best player when he's on the floor, and he'll guard anybody 1 through 5, because he has no fear, and that's what you want. Luke Kennard has no fear. He will go out there and take big shots, make big shots when he needs to, if he's called upon, like he's done. Like a week ago or 2 weeks ago when they played the Lakers, he made 2 of the biggest shots, or one of the biggest shots he made in his whole career, but he didn't have no fear. And those are the type of players you want. And then you add a Brandon Boston. We saw the talent that this young kid has. He definitely could have a promising future for the Clippers if they allow him to flourish. And then Isaiah Hartenstein, you got him. Eric Bledsoe, I think he works better with the second unit, in which I've actually spoke about. So I mean, now, you know what I'm saying, when you look at their bench, they got a deep bench, and they got one of the deepest teams in the NBA. So when you look at this team, man, you just hope that health doesn't be the end all be all for them, because they actually have an opportunity to do some really good things, but they have to have the opportunity to do so. And the only way to have that is to be on the court and be healthy, of course. So, in my estimation, I really hope that the Clippers can stay afloat. Hopefully PG can come back sooner and kind of help keep them afloat, because I mean, even though the Clippers are in the 5th seed, they're still like a few games away from being in the 8th seed. You see what I'm saying? So anything can happen. I mean, if the Clippers went on a 4 or 5 game losing streak, they could be in the 8th or 9th seed pretty easily. And that's what I'm saying. So right now they're in the 5th seed, holding it down. They just lost to the Thunder 104-103. It's definitely a team I think they could beat without Paul George. I personally think they can. I personally think they have the firepower to beat that team without Paul George. You still had Reggie Jackson. You had Luke Kennard, which I think he scored 27 points. Reggie didn't score as much as I thought he would. I don't think Reggie had over 20. And Terrence Mann had about 18 or something like that. But this is my point. I still think the Clippers were good enough to beat them without Paul George. But I mean, hey, they didn't. So you can't speak on, shoulda, woulda, coulda. But this is what I'm saying. You got to ask yourself, can the Clippers stay afloat? Can Paul George come back and be healthy enough to keep them afloat until Kawhi makes it? Where is this team going to be by the time Kawhi Leonard comes back? And you see, you have to ask yourself these questions because this is what can determine whether Kawhi Leonard comes back this year or next year. Because if the team flails and flames out to where, hypothetically, if they flame out and don't make the playoffs and possibly make a play-in tournament maybe or something like that, that can alter decisions in bringing Kawhi Leonard back, rushing him back when he might not be 100% ready yet, depending on where this team is when he's healthy enough to give it a try. And those things factor in sometimes to decisions being made. So, you have to look at a lot of things like that, and you have to be aware of things like that. So I really hope the Clippers find a way to stay afloat. Their schedule is only going to get harder, and they're definitely going to need all the health and nutrition that they need to try to put themselves in better position. But it seems like the injury bug is just biting the Clippers more than any other team. So I hope they find a way to stay healthy. And by the looks of it, looks like Kawhi is rushing, not rushing, but he's working his way in the form the way he's supposed to be as quickly as he can. I like seeing him dribble the ball. I like seeing him shoot the ball, put up shots. I like the fact I'm seeing him walk around and be casual and calm and high spirits and, doing, extra shooting on the side and, trying to get himself back to where he was, because I really do feel like he wants to do something good for this team and with this team. And I believe he will. I just hope that it's this season, because like I said, every season there's no guarantee. And the more and more a team is built up there, in regards to notoriety and how they're playing and what they've done, the lesser and lesser the window gets to getting a championship if you don't get it accomplished. So, this will be a 3rd season that they have been together and they didn't win the championship. And besides, you got to look at it like this. The Clippers are a team now. It's championship or bust. It's not about making the playoffs, because they got good enough talent to win it all. So when you look at it from that standpoint, you really hope that Kawhi Leonard comes back 110% the way he was before he got hurt. And you hope this team stays afloat as much as they can to keep everything going. So, when Paul George and Kawhi Leonard comes back, well, I think Paul George will be back here soon, hopefully. But when Kawhi Leonard comes back, now they're in position to actually make a run, because everybody has been, building chemistry, getting the young guys like Brandon Boston and the rest of them on the same system, on the same page. Everybody's healthy and everybody's just waiting to welcome Kawhi back so he can get on the floor and they can go make a run, because this is their chance. And I truly believe this is their year to do it if they can get him healthy, because when you look at the Warriors, Klay Thompson just doesn't seem right to me. They said it was Christmas. Now it could be January, and he has been 2 years already. So, really, it shouldn't be no setbacks for Klay Thompson. He's already hasn't played in 2 years. So, you would think that's all that he needs. But, of course, you can't say, depending on nobody's injury, it's hard to really say. But this is my point. You don't know what you're going to get out of Klay Thompson. He hasn't played in 2 years. And when he does come back, we have to see what he looks like. That's a long time being out of basketball to come back and just dominate the way you were doing before you left. And Stephen Curry's a great shooter, but he can't hold down the fort by himself and win a championship, because he didn't even make the playoffs last year and got knocked out by Ja Morant and the Memphis Grizzlies in the play-in tournament. So you definitely can't trust him when it comes to that. And the Lakers are a mess. So you have to look at it from that standpoint with them. Unless they make some substantial trade or something like that, then maybe it might be different. But other than that, I really don't trust that team. Their defense is horrible, and Anthony Davis is injury prone. So you can't trust that. The Nuggets don't have Jamal Murray, and when they do get him back, well, who knows what state he'll be in. And, the Nuggets are just trying to keep afloat, doing all right. They're not doing too bad, but they're a middle of the pack team to me. So is Utah. And like I said, the Phoenix Suns might be the only team in the West that really might give the Clippers a little bit of a run, but not much at all, because I definitely think the Clippers could beat them too. Hell, the Clippers almost beat them without Kawhi Leonard last year. So unless Devin Booker's going to drop another 70 points in a game or two in the playoffs, I don't see them beating the Clippers. So this is my point. This is the time for the Clippers to go after it, because when you look at the NBA in its entirety, it's really up for grabs for them to get it. Even though Kyrie is coming back for the Nets, he's playing part-time. Part-time basketball is not good enough to win championships. You got to be out there full-time with your team to build that chemistry. And that was part of their problem last year. The chemistry wasn't built because of injuries and players playing part-time, basically. So you definitely got a chance to beat them. And, because of the chemistry issues they might have. And like I said, the NBA is just wide open. So the Clippers definitely have an opportunity, but they got to be healthy enough to go out there and do it. And like I said, you got to hope that Kawhi Leonard comes back the way he was, and hopefully they can keep afloat until he does get back, so they can go ahead and make this run and win a championship. But hey, that's my take on the situation. You leave any comments in the comment section. You let me know what you think. And hey, Cali out.